Hello, it's Steve here. I've tried to record this video quite a few times today. There's a guy with a chainsaw. He's working in one of the gardens that's local. It's sort of making a racket. As you may gather, I'm at my auntie's house. And I just wanted to make a quick video. I was going to do it this week sometime, but I just haven't got round to it with packing and stuff and getting ready to travel again. And you'll have to forgive me, my voice is still not brilliant. But I wanted to do a video titled roughly things that make you angry in your record collecting life, if you want to call it. The obvious ones are receiving albums in poor condition or not receiving what you've ordered. I mean, I ordered a Dirk Schneider Udo CD live, and I got a copy of the Beatles and that sort of stuff. You know what I'm on about. But I thought I'd give you 3 things that really make me angry when I'm doing my record collecting. The first one is when you go to a charity shop or a record store and it's your turn to go through the bin or the stack, and as soon as you come to something good, somebody's arm comes over your shoulder and pulls it out, and that is an extremely dangerous thing to do with me. I went to a charity shop once, and I think it was last year sometime, and I pulled out a Bruce Springsteen, and it was a good one, and this guy just put his hand in and pulled it out. I said, "No you don't, pal," and I came close to breaking his arm, and that really makes me angry when they do that. And I've seen it done at record fairs as well. You know these guys who collect Northern Soul and Soul 7-inch. I always feel sorry for them because they've got to go through thousands upon thousands of 7-inch singles, and this guy had pulled out 3 or 4 and he put them on his pile, and this guy just took his pile, walked off, and it was close to a fight. They had to have security, got his records back, and they ejected this guy. But he was just going around picking up, if he fancies something, doesn't matter if it was on somebody's pile, he just pick it up and try and buy it. That is my number one irk when someone does that to me. Another one I don't like is when you go have a conversation with someone in a record store, and I know death metal's very fashionable at the moment, and they tell me they don't like death metal. They like death metal, but don't like bands like Motorhead, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden. They think all heavy metal's rubbish, and I scratch my head with wonder when they say that. Because if you don't like Iron Maiden and bands like Judas Priest and Motorhead, how can you like death metal? Because because metal was an evolution, and that's where it originated from. So saying that to me is like saying I love a cup of coffee, but I don't like hot water. You understand where I'm coming from? And unfortunately, you look at all the guys on the VC, and I'm talking about Scott Waters, Renee Holsper. They've all got, you look at their collections, they've got some thrash, they've got some power metal, a bit of everything, and it's all sort of evolved in what it is today. But these young kids, they sort of, I love these death metal bands, yet when you say to them, well, do you like Judas Priest or do you like Iron Maiden, they say, well, no, they're rubbish. I said, well, hang on a minute, if you don't like Judas Priest, how can you like some death metal or some that sort of metal? Because that's how it evolved. That's how it all came to pass. It sort of started in the 70s, then you had like your first wave, then you had your new wave, then you had your hair metal. Sorry if I ain't got this in the right order. You had your hair metal wave, then it all sort of evolved. And I remember in the 80s with the thrash metal, it was just a case of everybody wanting to play faster than anybody else, and that's obviously how your extreme metal and death metal started. But no, it's just nuts to me, and I just can't suss it out. I mean, there is some really good lads on the VC that are really big into death metal, but I'm sure if you ask one of them, they'll say to you, I love Iron Maiden, or there is a power metal band they like, or they will refer to the older stuff. Also, for the fact, if you hear these new bands, who inspired them, and there's always a pattern form, and it's always Iron Maiden, Motorhead, Judas Priest. Whenever you read an article about a band and they say who's your inspiration, it's only one about sort of like half a dozen bands all the time, and Judas Priest is normally in it. They're like the Godfather, and Black Sabbath's another one. They're like the Godfathers of heavy metal. Now the last one I'm going to do, 'cause time's going. That's number 3. Scott touched on it in his last video, and I love his video with Trog. It's really good. I believe they're on 1988 at the moment, and I've mentioned it in previous videos as well. Is record companies that give you a CD and you've ain't got a cat in hell's chance of reading the actual writing. My eyes are awful now compared to what they used to be. I mean, I used to have the 20/20 vision. It was this woman said it was the best vision she's ever had in a 30-year career. Then sort of in the period of the last 7 or 8 years, my eyes have deteriorated to the point of wearing glasses. I have done for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's getting worse. But why do they do CDs or records? They print the lyrics and the lyric sheets, and it's so small, or it's some stupid colour on a stupid background and you can't read it. Or what they do is they put the lyrics. Say you see a picture of the band going down the guys, and again you can't, because they're in black. Some of them you can't read it. I noticed Scott said when he does his design work, he always makes sure we can read the lyrics. But that's one thing I can't handle, is when you get a CD. I want to read about the band. I want to read, do a bit of reading, and when I listen to them, I love a good read. And you just can't do it for some reason. It's just ridiculous. It's like in the UK there's a magazine called Record Collector. I rarely have it anyway, but when I do want to read it, I can't read it because the prints are small. You just can't read it. It hurts my eyes. But no, that's my 3 bugbears with buying, going record shopping and whatever. Maybe you can come up with a few more, and let me know if you reply to this thread. I'd love to hear your views. But it's just sort of collecting records and sort of the beefs you've got. I mean, the obvious ones to me are getting broken records in the post, or stuff like that. But I like to, it's a nice day here. We're having an abnormally unseasonable February. It's really mild at the moment. But I'll say goodbye to you folks, and thanks for putting up with me again. And peace out folks. Till next time.